In this lecture, you're going to apply AI-driven TDD with Claude Code in practice. Now, remember, we've covered the principles in the TDD in the Age of AI lecture under the Pitfalls and Best Practices section. Now you're going to apply it practically using AI. We'll do the same cycle for all three tools. First up is Claude Code. In the next lecture, we'll do the same for Cursor, and then thereafter for GitHub Copilot. Now, firstly, you are going to create a specification in the form of a spec.md file, and this will be placed in the root of your Python project. Then the AI will write the failing tests from your spec.md file, and then thereafter the AI will write the implementations for those tests, and then you basically have two responsibilities: creating the spec and reviewing both the failing tests and then also the implementation that the AI created from those tests. Now let's look at the TDD diagram again so that it makes more sense. We have three steps in this process. The first step is called the red step, and this is when the AI writes the failing tests from the spec. This is the spec.md file that we are going to create. After that, we'll ask the AI to look at the tests and then create the function from the tests that are based on the spec. And then the last step is the refactor step, the blue step. This is where we can clean up the code, and then we can do it with confidence because the tests will protect the behavior. If we break it, the tests will fail, and then we can fix the code again so that the test passes. And essentially, the tests are the rules that are based on the spec, and the code needs to conform to that. Now, the first step that we are going to take is to create a virtual environment for our project. But before we do that, I just wanted to remind you that you can find the Claude Code and IDE setup links and instructions in the Generating Tests with Claude Code lecture under the Agentic Test Generation with AI Coding Agents section. I'm just mentioning this if you, for example, skipped ahead and you didn't watch that one yet. Now, you can find the code under section 5, lecture 20, and then start. So let's go ahead and open that now. This time, go to section 5, lecture 20, and then start. And what we can do is actually open that only so that we limit the scope. So say File, Open Folder, then go to section 5, lecture 22, and then start. Now, like all Python projects, we need to create a virtual environment, and we are going to create a venv virtual environment. So open up your terminal. Then again, let's just quickly check what versions our Python is on. So it'll be Python -- version if you are on Windows, or Python 3 -- version on Mac OS and Linux. So as you can see, I'm still on Python 3.10. So if we go back to the slides, importantly, I've also included a downloadable lecture slide file so that you can copy some of these commands if you like. So the reason I showed you the version is because if you haven't created a venv environment and you're on Linux, you need to install the Python 3 and whatever version you're on -venv. So you can go ahead, for example, and install Python 3.10 venv, or if you're on Python 3.11, then you will just update this command. And once you've done that, you can go ahead and create your virtual environment. Again, Python for Windows, Python 3 for Mac OS or Linux. Going to paste it there. And then you'll see that it created a virtual environment for us. And then here it asks in VS Code, we noticed a new environment has been created. Do you want to select it for the workspace folder? And I'm going to say yes. The next step is to activate the virtual environment. Again, it's a bit different for Mac OS and Linux versus Windows. So you're going to say source, and then there's an activation script in the bin directory under the .venv directory. So let me copy that and paste it there. And then you'll see that .venv is now active in the shell terminal. And this means that we are now going to install our Python packages in this project's virtual environment and not globally onto our local machines. And then finally, we need to install PyTest as our testing framework. Then for the first step, the red step, we will start from the spec. So we will start by creating our spec.md file. Let's go ahead and copy the contents. And then in the root of the start directory, create a new file and call it spec.md. So our spec will specify the fine for an overdue library book. So here we have spec.md, overdue, book late fees, and then late fee, days overdue. This will be the function, and its responsibility will be it returns the fine for an overdue library book. And then for days 1 to 3, there will be a grace period. So we won't apply a fee. And then each day after the grace period adds 50 cents. The total fee is capped at $10. And then if there's a negative days overdue value, it will raise a value error. Let's go ahead and open up our terminals and start Claude Code. So type Claude, and then we are ready to prompt it to create our failing tests from the spec. So here at this stage, no code exists, and the spec is the AI's only input. So we're going to prompt it as follows. We're going to say read the spec file and then write failing PyTest tests for late fee. That'll be created under the source directory in tests, and then call it test late fees.py. Test only, don't add the implementation yet, and cover every rule including the boundaries. Let's copy our prompt there. And here it has already created the tests and it's asking for permission to write it to file. And then under tests, you'll find test late fees. And here it wants to run the new test to confirm that they fail. So let's say yes. And here we have our summary. Tests are in place and fail as expected. The only failure is no module named source. Exactly the implementation doesn't exist state you want for the red phase of TDD. Once the source latefee.py exists with a late fee function, these will exercise it. And then it created the file under tests as mentioned, and then covers every rule and its boundaries. So instead of reading all the text, let's look at the code. So here we have the rules that are coming from the spec.md file. And as mentioned, this file doesn't exist yet, so that's why we have the failure. And then test for the no fee, grace period for days 1 to 3. So 0 days overdue, and then $0 fee. And then here is the test period is free, and this will be for days 1, 2, and 3. And then test the last grace day boundary, and that will be day 3. Again, there should be $0 fee there, and then charge 50 cents per day after the grace period. Test the first charge day. This will be day 4, and then you should be charged 50 cents. And then here we have our parameterized tests again. So for day 4, again 50 cent, $5, 6, 150. Days 10, 350, 13, 5, and 22, 950. And then cap at 10. So here we go over or at 23, which will be $10. And then the 22 is 9.5, 24 should be 10 as well. And even 1,000 days will be $10. And then negative input raises the value error for -1. And here we have parameterized tests again for -1, -5, and 100. So now we have our failing tests. We are done with the red step. Let's go to the green step. So for the green step, this is where Claude Code is going to implement the function from the tests. But before we do that, let's just give it a hard rule. So we're going to create a claude.md file, and we're going to tell it The tests are the specification. Never edit a test to make it pass. Copy the project rules. And then in the root, going to create our claude.md file. Now that we have that, let's open up our terminals again, and then let's copy the following prompt. So we're saying at test late fees is the executable spec for late fee. That's the function. Create the late fees.py file under source so the whole file passes. Run PyTest and iterate until green. Do not modify the test. So this is the green step in action. And then I'm going to paste it there. And here it is trying to create the function. Let's just allow it to run the tests again before we look at it. According to Claude Code, all 23 tests passed on the first run. So this is the green step. It didn't have to iterate, but if there were failures, it was going to fix the function so that the test passed. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at our function. Here we have the late fee function, and it takes in one argument, days overdue, and then it returns the fine for a book that is days overdue, days late. So 1 day, obviously no fee there, but from 4 days upwards, it'll have fines. It looks like Claude Code implemented this very well. So let's just go ahead and run PyTest ourselves. I'm going to create another terminal session and say PyTest, and then I'll point it to the test directory. And as you can see, all 23 tests passed. Now for the third step, refactor, and then the test should protect the behavior. So we can refactor in the following ways. We can rename, we can extract the constants, or we can restructure the code. Then we run PyTest again after each refactor, and then green will stay green, or the suite will tell us immediately that we've broken something. So that safety net is exactly what putting the test before the code buys you. Proper TDD style, now empowered by AI. So if we look at our function here, let's see, we can maybe create a constant for this. Error message. And then we can replace that. So this is quite a simple change. And we can also, for example, say, let's create another function. We can say calc chargeable days. So what we can do is just copy that, and then I will paste it in there. And then we can simply go ahead and call calc charge and then pass in overdue. So as you can see, I'm just making some refactorings to see if our code still works. So if we go ahead and run PyTest again, then it shows that all of our tests passed. So now you've seen AI-driven TDD in practice. Let's look at why this is a safe approach. Because the test came from the spec that we created, no code existed, so the AI was unable to copy any bug from existing code. Then the code came from the tests that mirrored the spec, so if it violates the spec, then the test will fail. And we followed this step: first spec, then tests, then code. This means bug encoding is structurally impossible when you apply AI-driven TDD in this way.